Hello again everyone, I'm Jim, thank you for joining me on another video. As you can see, I am sat hiding behind two giant Dell boxes. Within these boxes are two servers, courtesy of my friends at ByteStock, and these are a nice pair of refurbished new servers, ready to be set up, configured, and then head off to one of our customer sites. But before then, I thought you might like a look around. Now, obviously, to get going, I'm going to need to unbox them. So I'm going to get that done now, and then you can join me with them unboxed. And we're unboxed. And as you can see, we have a nice shiny new Dell R740 down here. And up here, we have a Dell R730 of a similar ilk. Obviously, you can see the difference on the front between the two. The 730 having the older front bezel with just Dell on it, and the 740 having the nice shiny new Dell EMC bezel on it. Just thought I would show you quickly the differences between the two, as I have this 730 in for reloading as well. But this 740 and its twin, I have the identical one. It's still in its box, but I will get that unboxed at some point. But you can see straight away the obvious difference is the front. Now, interestingly, as we look at the front, obviously the 730 has the, I suppose, classic Dell front on it. They did actually do a version of this that says Dell EMC there, and some of the later ones did actually have a little LCD panel on them as well, versus the 740's nice shiny geometric front. And the first real obvious difference actually is the 730 has less on it, with the 740 having a pair of USB 2 ports, and tucked down here is a USB-C port for Idrac. That allows you to connect things into the Idrac management. And we have the front VGA, so you can plug in your keyboard, your mouse, and your VGA from the front should you need to. Over on this side, we also have on the 740 a button for the information light, which flashes blue. And we have the white Idrac connection button. This allows you to configure your Idrac via your phone. But obviously, we're not going to do that at the moment. Don't need to. I've got it here. And there's against the 740, where that is all. I'm going to have to take the front off for the 730. There you go. We've got the VGA, the SD card slot for Idrac on the front, two USBs, and a CD-ROM, DVD-ROM drive, along with the power button, and tucked in here is the LCD screen. Obviously it's off, but that's it. Obviously this is a little baby 730, only 2 hard disks in it. This has come off of a site where it got a bit warm, but it's all okay. So I'll just put the front back on you. And let's pop the front off of you. A slightly different thing. And you can see we still have a CD-ROM DVD drive tucked up in there. Now we have our nice collection of solid-state drives with a gap, just waiting for a filler for that. Now, if you're actually looking at requiring any of these servers, this server here has come courtesy, and its twin, of ByteStock. And down in the description below you will find a nice little affiliate link courtesy of our friends over at ByteStock. This isn't a sponsored video by any means, but there is a affiliate link, and I believe the first 5 people to use it actually get 10% off of their order over £500 here in the UK, and I think anyone else gets, I think, 5% off. I will double check that and make sure to fill it out below. But yeah, if you look down below in the description, you will find our little link to ByteStock. And if you are looking at buying any new-ish Dell servers, this server has been spec'd to our requirements, courtesy of the guys at ByteStock, and comes with a 5-year warranty, which obviously is actually better than Dell. This is still technically a as new server, although it's classed as a refurbished server to us. But we're quite happy. We've used ByteStock for all sorts of odd bits and pieces over the years, from the CPU upgrades on my Xeon machine to hard disks for servers, some of the older stuff. So always had great service from them. So bit of a recommendation from myself. If you are looking for any new servers, please give them a visit and see what they can do for you. Now, next step is I'm going to whiz around the back and we'll have a look at the differences from the rear, and you can join me around there in 2 seconds. And we're now around the back of the two servers. As per before, the top server is a 730, the bottom server is the new 740, and you can see that actually not masses of change between the generations. Still got the handle on the back for pulling them in. The Idrac port is still in exactly the same position with the information LED. We've got a serial port and we've got a VGA port around the back. The 730, we've got a pair of USB 2 on the 730, a pair of USB 3 ports on the 740. Tucked in there on the daughter board, we have a pair of 10 gig SFPs and dual 1 gig. It's an Intel daughter board. Always specify Intel daughter boards on these things. Never use Broadcom if you can avoid it. Generally because the drivers seem to be a bit flaky. And on the 730, just so you can see the difference on this one, dual PSU. There's a quad port NIC, 1 gig NIC there, and there's a quad port daughter board on there. Again, you can get a quad port daughter board fitted to this. We specified to have a dual 10 gig and dual gig port. You can see on the 730 actually where you would have a some half width cards in there. But that is the rear of these servers. As you can see, slightly different over the years. Gone over to a plasticky handle as against the metal one on the 730. And she's all powered up. I've got a pair of 1100 watt power supplies in this one and some 750s in the older one. Now I'm going to lose the 730 and we'll have a quick look inside the 740. And that's the 730 gone. Here you can see on the lid, nothing spectacular. We've got a bit of information on how to use the express service tag for the Idrac connection. As you can see there, using the button on the front to connect in using the Idrac mobile app. You can see the drive layouts that are possible. Again, this chassis only has 8 drive bays in it, but you can have obviously up to 24 bays. And with this, not this chassis, with the XD chassis, you can have flex ports in the back as well. So I think it works out with this chassis just being a 740, you can have up to 24 drives. I think the XD, I think it works out you can have 34, something like that, by the time you've actually fitted all the drives in the back and the front. It adds a few more in, but anyway, let's pop the lid off and have a quick look inside. Put that out of the way. Now, this isn't a fully kitted 740 by any means. This is in for a specific pair of use cases. We can quickly slide that back to start with and pop that off so we can see what's hiding under here. And as per normal, a big lump of plastic, we just pop that out the way and put that over there for the time being. And this is the contents of this Dell server. Nothing particularly special as servers go. It's having a, just to show you, it knows I've taken the lid off. It's flashing at me. But there we go. Right, from the front, we have the back of the SATA backplane there, an 8-bay backplane. If we wanted to add another backplane, we could have got one fitted in there. We've got the fans for cooling, obviously, as per normal. These are hot swappable fans, hence the little red tag on them. As with most server manufacturers now, if it's got a little red tag on it like that, it usually means it's hot swappable. There's the fan, manufactured by Foxconn. Put that back in there. We have got 1 and 2 CPUs. These are Xeon Silvers, pair of 8-core 16-thread Xeon Silvers, and I believe we spec'd this with a fairly low amount of RAM. Now, as you can see, it's using RAM with a Cisco sticker. As I said, this server and its twin were courtesy of ByteStock. We purchased them from ByteStock for our customer. That's where these are going. These are specified as we want them to do a job. So while it's got a Cisco sticker on, it's perfectly happy in a Dell server, and obviously any warranty work, etc, 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 we'd be going back to ByteStock, not to Dell. But as I said earlier, links below. If you're looking at buying any new Dell servers, give the guys at ByteStock a quick call and they will sort you a good quote out. This was quite a bit cheaper than buying it new from Dell. But again, we could even have this ordered with Pro support if we required it. But not a lot else going on here. You've got on the motherboard your expansion for risers. You've got your riser sockets there for power, for your GPUs if you wanted to plug some GPUs in here. You've got tucked in there is the daughter board. That tucked in there is a replaceable daughter board. Got a little the dual SD card slot there. Don't need that because this server is going to be running Windows. We've got the PERC RAID controller card here. So I'm not going to be taking this apart too much because this is actually going out on site and I do need to get around to loading Windows on it. But you can see tucked in under there, we've got a little button battery for the BIOS, got diagnostic LEDs, etc, etc. No amazingly complicated things inside this unit. It is going in to serve a purpose. It's downsizing from some Lenovo's, and that's really about it. I suppose it's not the most exciting of servers because there's nothing really amazingly different in here. There's no GPUs, there's no massive RAID cards, there's no big array of disks. It's quite a boring server, but this is what's inside a boring server. Lots of empty space for upgrades, lots of banks of memory that you could potentially obviously fill should you require it. Both these servers I have are identical. There's not really a lot more that I can show other than what's in the actual Idrac system, because this being a 740 runs Idrac 9, which is, in my opinion, quite a big improvement over the older versions of Idrac. Now, that I will probably do a separate video on, because it allows you to do a lot more features. It has a lot more functionality in terms of grouping servers together, etc, etc, etc. But if there's anything specific you wanted to ask on an R740, I have 2 of these here, and if you want me to look at anything, drop me a message, leave a comment, and I'll have a look at and seeing what I can do for you. But there you go, a Dell R740 internally. I'll just get it booted up in a second and you can have a quick look and see what it looks like booted. And we have noise. Now this is the first boot of this server. You will have to excuse the slight background noise of it turning on. But as you can see, if you're familiar with Dell servers, it's the standard Dell UFE style BIOS. Nothing particularly different about this compared to most Dell servers for the last 10 years or so. But we'll quickly hop in to the Lifecycle controller once it's finished loading. The new servers are a bit faster than the older ones, but we'll hop into there. and do a quick check for any updates. Now, this is the Dell Lifecycle controller. This is where you do all the updates for your Dell mainboard, BIOS, any firmware for either the NICs, obviously the mainboard, management controller, Idrac, etc., etc. Either direct from Dell or via a local repository. Generally, I prefer to get it direct from Dell. So we'll go to firmware update, launch firmware update, the Dell website please, no proxy settings, yes, that is correct, but this is my own network, so I don't need to. And this will connect up to Dell, ask for the latest packages to download, and then you should see a nice pretty picture with everything up to date, or if you need to do updates, it will tell you what to do. Let's find out what we've got. The most bizarre error message from Dell is basically saying yes. And here is our list of updates. As you can see, there's a few to be done, nothing particularly major. We've got the Idrac update from version 4 to 4.4. We've got the OS driver pack, which contains all the drivers needed to install. We've got the baseboard management is already up to date. The diagnostic pack has a update from A42 to A50. We've got a PERT controller update. Another Idrac update. What else? Look down the list. Got a NIC update, and the BIOS is all up to date already, which is fine. Now, if you're using these servers for anything VMware related, if you're using vSAN, you do have to be aware that the latest versions of the firmware might not yet be compatible with vSAN. Just something to be aware of. But for now, I'm going to go apply, let it run through the updates, and we'll pick it up when it's done, because this will take some time. Welcome back, everyone. That took a bit longer than I expected it to do. In fact, I had to leave it overnight, but all up to date and working as normal. Now what you see in front of you here, this is Idrac version 9. If you are familiar with this, or the Idrac series, this is obviously the latest and greatest version from Dell. Idrac 9 Enterprise running on this unit, as against Express with a few more limited things. But this allows you to obviously remotely manage, monitor, and maintain systems without having to go onto the main operating system itself. You can see down here in the corner below me is the virtual console, which is part of the Enterprise package, always useful to have. Just quickly going through, obviously you can see on the dashboard, we've got the system and storage health. We've got obviously the logs tucked down here. We have the system information for this system. Obviously there's no operating system loaded yet, but you can go through, and within here are all the settings for everything that you can change. Basically, you can change it in the BIOS, pretty much you can change it in Idrac, which makes management of the system very easy, including storage, so you can see current state of disks, controllers, see the hard disks in there, some nice solid state disks hiding in there, and any configuration that you need to do is done via Idrac. You can set power policies, all things, etc., etc. Just thought I'd bring you into here because I'm just about to start loading Server 2019 onto this device. which if we bring up the virtual console, I can do that. Just carry on with where I was. We are going to go with OS deployment. I've already configured a RAID 5 array on this, so no needing to do that. So going directly to OS deployment. Now, depending on the operating system you're loading, whatever, prefer, obviously, all modern servers should be UEFI. Because we're loading Windows, we'll be turning Secure Boot on as well. And we are going to be loading Windows Server 2019. Now, Dell, HP have the drivers actually stored on board, on the motherboard, in the Lifecycle controller on the Dells for the operating system, so you can deploy Windows, Linux, whatever, pre-configured with the latest set of drivers from Dell, which saves a lot of time, saves any driver bugs using standard drivers from Microsoft. Just makes for a nicer deployment overall. Some people prefer to do this all manually. Either way, it doesn't worry me. I sometimes prefer to use the Lifecycle controller just because you know that it's a Dell supported method and it keeps them happy. So while that's composing the drivers, I will speed on through. And there we go, all prepared. Now we've got two options. You can either go for an unattended install, which will just install the operating system as per Dell's best practice. And see more information on using the OS, blah, 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 blah. You can customize that if you want to. I'm going to go for a manual install. That way I can tell it a few of the things. So media is courtesy of the DVD. Not loaded from a DVD for a while. So we'll go next. And we're going with the following settings. And we will let Windows deploy onto this server, and I will join you when it is done. Well, we're all loaded up now, back into Windows Server 2019 on this, ready for me to carry on loading this. But just to quickly show you, you can see now this is a Intel Xeon Silver 4215R pair of CPUs. Both CPUs are 8-core, 16 threads, so that gives us 32 threads in total. We've got 64 gig of RAM in this server. And just for a bit of fun, I thought I would try Cinebench's latest version on here, just to see what kind of benchmarks this will pull. And let's hit the multi-core performance test. And we'll go from there with it. What's it going to do? And away it goes. Let's just make sure that it is actually doing something. Yeah. There we go. 32 threads of Intel's, I won't say finest, because these are quite a low sort of to mid level Xeon CPU. They're nothing particularly special. But as I previously mentioned in this video, this server was built for us courtesy of ByteStock. And if you are looking to get a server built, you can contact them down below. And please use our referral code in your checkout to get 5% off your order up to £500. And the first 5 of you that use it will get 10% off your order. So please feel free to give them a look and see if they can help you with your thing. So we have got 18,382 points. So we are faster than a Ryzen Threadripper. Was that a 1950? Yeah, 1950 Threadripper. And we're slower than a 48 core Xeon. So not too bad. So there you go. That's the performance of a pair of Xeon Silvers. So I'm now going to carry on getting this server, and I've got now its twin unboxed and set up, and hopefully you'll see them in another video where I'm going to get these set up as a 2-node vSAN cluster in Windows running Hyper-V using Starwind's Virtual SAN. So please do subscribe to the channel, and I'll hopefully get you all up to date with that sooner rather than later, as well as other stuff going on in the channel. But I will be grateful for that, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you for watching.